Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Welcome to our August King's Counsel and Trust Family Office Town Hall gathering. We are super grateful that you're here today. As you've probably seen, we have some transformation happening with our brand, transformation happening in some of our messaging, and really grateful to be sharing and being on this journey with you as we grow. I am going to go ahead and start the PowerPoint presentation. Go through, hold on just a second here. Why is it not clicking? Okay, here we go. Most of you are familiar, or if you're brand new, please everybody say hi in the chat. If you're brand new, you can type I'm new, or first time. If you've been here before, please share with us your city or state or where you're chiming in from. We love to know the global impact that we're happening. Here's some of the special offerings that we have and how we help people navigate trust in corporate services. Today we have a special topic. Obviously, we're going to learn a little bit about KCT's mission and vision, healthy living a life of purpose. And we have a special guest speaker on that. We'll be doing our breakout session for some networking and collaboration and a deeper conversation so that we can really get to know each other. And our intention is that we can be inspired and uplifted as we leave here today. And then at the end, we'll open it up for a Q&A. And so please don't wait until the very end for the Q&A. We love, if there's things that are happening, please put that in the chat so that we can hear from you ahead of time. Sometimes as we're talking and there's something going on, we can answer it right there. And we would love to make sure that we connect with you on that. I'm going to pause for a moment just so that you can read the mission and vision. And if you would do me a big favor, please, write maybe a word or statement or something that stands out for you in the chat from the mission and vision. And I find for me, each month as I read this, each time I get drawn to, I should have it memorized by now, various pieces, but the social impact ventures that bring people together. I know that's more than one word, but I really just am so excited to see all of you here and that this impact that we get to have when we come together with that shared mission and vision. So thank you for playing. We are super grateful for our founder and managing director, King's Counsel and Trust Family Office, Dale Hewitt Collier. He's been tagged as a financial futurist, an individual who has, my language for it is it's like he's been given a download of what's happening in the world and helping bring forward this new global system of wealth creation. And so super grateful for his vision and his leadership and bringing us all here together. Also, we have Thomas. Thomas, you want to say hi real quick?
Certainly. Hello, everybody. Some of you I recognize, some of you I have yet to meet. Nice to see you, the new faces. And David, I wanted to just reach out to you. I know that you had 4 or 5, maybe 6 people that you were inviting. Have they shown up yet? And should I be keeping my eyes open for anybody who hasn't arrived?
2 have arrived, Christopher and Jackie.
All right.
Still looking for a couple more, but we'll see. People are busy.
All right.
And I just realized.
Well, welcome. I knew Jackie was one of those faces I hadn't met. And here's a familiar face coming in now. So I'll turn it back over to you, Shannon. We hope that you find this hour insightful, informative, and a potential place for you to hang your hat on a more regular basis.
Thank you. So glad to be here. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. And that's obviously how we grow. Hopefully you're inspired by something today and that you invite and share this with others. We meet the second Tuesday of every month. And also if you go to King's Counsel and Trust, KCTFO.com, you can learn more and actually get a video series hearing directly from Dale and more about this vision. Erin Strayer, who I know is not with us today, or at least I didn't see her come in, Thomas, or Erin, if you're here, you can say hi. This woman is a firecracker with a wealth of knowledge. We also have Larry Tyler. Larry, you want to say hi real quick?
Hello, great to have everybody today. Thanks for showing up, and I hope this is a profitable hour for you, and it is for us. So thank you for showing up.
And Cheryl Bassett, sorry. Cheryl is just incredible at helping us convey that message so that we're able to understand and we're able to connect and really get it out to the world. She is a beautiful light, and so grateful that she's here. And I'm Shannon, and I love helping people get their message to the masses. And I'm so glad you're here. If you're here for your first time, you may hear language or concepts that you haven't heard before. And I just invite you to put it in the chat. What does that mean? Ask questions. It's definitely, for me, my heart just said, there's something here. I need to pay attention and listen and learn more. And we have a blank spot here at the bottom that is ready for you. So if you would like to have this blank spot, we invite you to go to KCTFO.com and go through the journey and get involved. Larry, I'm kind of pulling a audible here. Would you mind leading us in a quick opening connection prayer intention for today?
Sure, thank you. Heavenly Father, we just thank you for allowing us to come together in community and to work together, hopefully for the purposes for which you've placed on our heart for us to fulfill and for us to complete in our destiny in our life here on earth. You have given us some great opportunities and possibilities to exhibit and use and serve the audience you called us to serve with our talents and gifts. We just lift those up to you and ask you to bless this time, and we just praise you and thank you for all that you're doing and have done in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you so much, Larry. And
Amen.
I just have one more slide just to let everybody know, if you are new to what we're doing, and I'll drop this in the chat, we have an incredible workbook about covenants and the power of covenants versus contracts, and really how to build those strong relationships. And one of the core foundational values here at King's Counsel and Trust Family Office. So I invite you to go there, download that information, and that'll be a great start to get you on the journey. So Dale, I see you're here. Do you mind introducing and saying hello and introducing our special speaker today?
Do I mind? No, glad to be here. And today, oops, what's going on? I hear a video. Does everybody else hear a video?
No.
Nope, must be on your side.
Oh, might be the Holy Spirit. Okay, anyway, today we're going to hear from Larry, because family office is okay, being wealthy is okay, but if we don't have our health, that's the fourth T that Larry's going to be touching on today, is about taking care of our temple. We've heard about time, we've heard about talent, and to the degree that we do well with those, that determines our treasure principle. But what's the treasure without the health and the influence with which to touch people? Larry and I have known one another in the alternative space, non-pharmacia, as it were, for a long, long time. And so here to highlight a few things about that and the energy associated with that. We just want to demonstrate again, this is yet another side of why we get together and share what's working, what's not so working, and celebrate community together. Us being wealthy is really kind of the old way. This is more of, think of it as affluence. It's wealth with influence. And I pray that all of you, if you haven't gotten the wake-up call yet, that our greatest insurance, or assurance rather, is our health in the years to come. So with that, I'd like to introduce you to one of my dear friends, longtime colleague and mentor, the cash flow whisperer, Mr. Larry Tyler.
Thanks, Dale. I appreciate that. Let me share my screen and want to have a discussion, and certainly not a monologue, about healthy life, healthy living, and how that connects to our purpose. And I will attempt to connect it to King's Counsel and Trust Family Office, and for the members that are of King's Counsel Family Office power partners. So in our opinion, life is holistic. It concerns a lot of different aspects, not just our business, not just our family and our friends, but it concerns a lot more. And at a pretty high level, it concerns our spiritual life, physical, relational, vocational, financial, mental, and emotional. And they all work together. And these are basic aspects of our living. Men typically compartmentalize things, women far, far less. But in my work with business owners, generally, most of them tend to compartmentalize things and strictly look at the business and then go home, and it's family life. But from a standpoint of a healthy life, in our opinion, it encompasses many, many aspects of what we believe our Creator created and for us to be and to do. The primary, I think, motivation or original intent in the mind of the manufacturer for the creation of something is, to me, a wonderful definition of purpose. And for our discussion here, I use the purpose, vision, mission, basically kind of all of the same. But if you take like a hammer, what was the intention of the manufacturer for that? And in our view, we are created by our Creator, who had in mind a unique individual, or we are each unique individuals. We may, for example, be an accountant or a CPA, but based on that uniqueness and the specific design and purpose by our Creator, we handle that role or those roles in that particular profession a little differently, by which He intended us to show up. And so I think this is in our discussion, this is the ability to, I think, recognize the intent of the original by the manufacturer and put that into play and figure out what that is. Question for you, a rhetorical question. How are your reasons for being or for existing showing up in your life today? Not just to the audience that you're called to work with in your business, but what if you run into somebody in the grocery store? What if you, not literally run into them, but how do you handle yourself with them? How do you come across? And so that's a big question, I think, for us at KCT in this community and working with projects and people, power partners. How do you show up based on your own purpose? I don't know if anybody here knows of Miles Monroe. I'd invite you to look up some of his work. He got some great books. He got a lot of great quotes. Very practical, man of God as it relates to practical living. He said the greatest tragedy in life is not death, but a life without purpose. In my work for most of my lifetime, working with business owners, a business and the owner that had a definite purpose and reason for living, reason for their business was critical in my estimation and experience of success. And those that might have had a purpose generally revolved around making money, that their business was fuzzy in the way I put it. This is even to me a better quote. When purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable. And in my experience, I've seen this, witnessed this quite a few times. And that's, to me, the value of understanding your purpose, which is, we'll show in a minute, is a real key factor to healthy living. I'm really proud of Shannon. Shannon does a marvelous job of the bringing forth the vision and mission, and allowing people to, or pointing people to make a comment about what sticks out, what resonates. There was an Australian friend of mine years ago that had a process he called chunk up and chunk down. What he meant by that is in relating to people in meetings like this, or any kind of meeting, what you want to do to avoid miscommunication as much as possible is to chunk up the conversation to a point or a level where you both agree. And that's what Shannon does. Why are we here? It's to help fulfill the vision and mission of King's Counsel, along in connection with each of you's personal purpose and business purpose. And it's most, I think we've all can use this as an example, whether it's with our kids or our spouse. How many times we'll have a conversation that kind of goes sideways. One person's going one way, one's going another. But I've learned the hard way. What do we agree? My wife many times will come together and we'll discuss the discipline or the correction of our children. My idea of that is a good bit different than hers, but we do start out with the one point. We love our children. We want to see them mature into healthy men and women. And by starting out at that point, we chunk up to that, then we work down, which is extremely helpful. At King's Counsel and Trust, I think it's really important for this distinction. We desire to engage with people and in the community here with people who want to join King's Counsel, want to join the community as it relates to the vision and mission, versus many times people come to King's Counsel and Trust family office who need something that we have. What we're hoping to engage with different people that come in are the ones who want to join primarily for the vision and mission, and bring with them their time, talent, treasure, temple, and the relationships. This is a map that I put together, a mind map, and I hope you will take a screenshot of it. And there's a reason to not to confuse you, but many times in our conversations with people, we need to make an image. What are we talking about? How can you see that? And this shows our various offerings. But one of the key things that I wanted to point out here is the power partners down on the left, A, B, and C. And that's one we're hoping to connect today, or attempting I am, to connect healthy living, being a power partner with King's Counsel and Trust. And in that process of contributing our time, talent, treasure, and temple, as Dale mentioned earlier, how do we physically handle, are we physically in shape? Are we healthy? And how do we get there? And that's one of the things is part of what we are engaged with is how can we help with that? And how can one another help one another with our healthy living? About 10 years ago, I was working in a situation as a CFO for a sizable auction company. And in that process, I also managed a storage facility, was connected with that. And in a relatively small company, everybody lends a hand in almost everything. I don't care if it's cleaning toilets to whatever. It's just everything. But a lot of times I got called into service lifting furniture. In this process too, we got to see hundreds of people every week come to the auctions. And it was to my shock that many of them, most of them probably younger than I, just couldn't function. They were inhibited one way or another physically, which is sad to see. And that really worked on me in my work with business owners on the financial side. Freedom, and that means many things to different people, was extremely important. But I learned real quickly that the freedom of movement, the freedom of coming and going and doing a lot of things in life was restricted by many people. So I felt led by God to do some investigation, especially as it gets some education. What books could I get? What podcasts and different things like that to help educate myself, but even more so provide what I thought were good, practical, organic ways to stay healthy. And this is one of the books that I came across, and it turned out to be, in my opinion, one of the best. Kelly Turner was a doctorate student and was counseling cancer patients. And she wasn't seeing a whole lot of them, or in recorded history, overcome that disease, that out of balance condition. And she stumbled onto one, stumbled on another one in her research. And she got to wondering, why are they not, these cancer patients that were in remission, and I'm talking about 5, 10, 15, 20 year type of remission, why wasn't this being publicized? What did they do? What were they doing that made that difference? And so she dropped what she was doing and traveled the world for a couple of years and ran into about 1,500 patients and their medical providers, and found out through taking surveys and talking to them, there was about 77 things that these people did to help put the cancer in remission and stay that way for 5, 10, 15 years. And what was interesting, and I think here's one of the key points to this, and I hope you'll take a screenshot of this, is that there were 9 of them that all of them had in common. Now, they did some other things, but in her research, these factors, key factors to healthy living and staying healthy living, even though they had one of the most tragic diseases that man knows today. One of the things in reading the book, I discovered real quickly, or it came to me, these 9 are impactful for every area of our life. They can translate into the business world. They can translate into relationships, into our finances. To me, they were natural, organic, natural laws and spiritual laws, all combined. And if you look at that, there's nothing there made by man, which is interesting. So one of the key parts to this is to me is to disclose this. I know all of you do some of this or all of it, I hope all of it. But in a few minutes, I hope you'll take a screenshot of this. In a few minutes, we're gonna have some breakout room, and probably, I can't remember totally what the question was, Shannon, but what, if any of these, are you practicing? Or are you putting into play in your life, and why? Or is there one of them or two of them or whatnot you'd like to employ in your own life? God gave us the gift of physical life so that we could spend it in manifesting the God-given destiny or purpose He placed in our spirit before we were placed inside of our mother's womb. And so he meant life. And so that's part of a healthy life. And that's one of the things that we want to help at King's Counsel and Trust instill in everybody and work with and encourage for everybody that comes into King's Counsel and Trust. And with that, I'm going to throw it over to initially Dale or Thomas, if either of y'all have any comments, and then open it up for any comments from the crowd.
If I could respond to your invitation there, Larry, I personally have found my engagement with King's Counsel and Trust over the past little over a decade to help me experience a place of rest in discovering my purpose, living the purpose, and in spite of the challenges, the difficulties, the hardships, because this is a really kind of an alternative approach to living, how to live in the world and not be of the world. In the midst of circumstances that I would not have anticipated, dreamed, or desired, I have found a great sense of peace and rest and joy in the circumstance. And I know that was one of the 9 elements. And I can say, I think safely say that my oldest brother, who passed away at age 58, I'll be 65 next year, I think he died of a broken heart and bitterness. He was an individual who ended up having cancer. It's my personal belief that it was bitterness, a root of bitterness that he just couldn't let go, and he never really learned how to forgive others. And I suspect he had a hard time forgiving himself for not measuring up to the person he really wanted to be. So for me personally, that one of the 9 things, for me, that's the pivotal piece that I have found and discovered here. So that's all I have to say about that.
Good. Well said. Thank you. What about you, Dale?
For those that have seen our library, I hope that this isn't necessarily going out to get public, but suffice it to say, let me just dabble you with a little bit of truth here. There isn't a virus out there that's naturally occurring. Every virus that you've ever heard of, you can probably go look it up and you can find a patent number to it. There is an agenda to poison the air, the water, the food. I don't know who they is specifically, doesn't matter. But if we need it to exist, we need it to eat. These are all fixed things that we've got to have in our life, one shape or another. It pays to be wise as serpents, as it were, gentle in our administration as doves. We got to know about these things. You're sticking the head in the sand is not an option. And if any of this is kind of like news today, I would encourage you, please, please, please lean in. There's a drop down, it says other. Anything you maybe hear or curious about, there's a lot more to share. There's a lot of things that we simply cannot say. We run getting into trouble with certain regulatory authorities that don't want the truth to come out. But what we stand to do here together is, like I said, in community, to share what works, it's safe, and for those that intend on stewarding it well, chances are that there's probably a good natural cure. But one of those 9 items up there, I look forward to when we break out which one of those things is working best for you in your life. So thank you, Larry, for teeing that up for us today. Ms. Shannon, are we breaking in?
Think so, Larry, are we? I'm going to add one more part to it too, just real quick, because I'm not going to get in a breakout room, but
Oh, go ahead, please.
yeah, just the whole embracing social support. Like, I really feel that nobody should be having that sense of being alone. And if you feel alone, I hate to say it, it's a choice, right? Like there's so many ways of engaging, and that's one of the beautiful things that I love about what we do here at the town hall and in the community, is just really knowing that we have that, as you said, embracing social support, having that support of each other to navigate the ups and downs, because it's not a straight line, this life. There's various pieces, and to really connect with the health wisdom. And I know in Dale's, I call it the World Congress Library, this massive library, there's so much in there about health and about community and finances, and so that's a big piece. So Larry, whenever you're ready, I can do the breakout rooms, but I'll.
What time did you plan for the breakout?
So that's a really good question, because I did not set that. We have 2 minutes each. When you get into the breakout room, you do need to pick a timekeeper. There's a couple of rooms with four individuals in there. I will pull up, when we get into the breakout room, this wonderful slide that Larry had with all the options. So I'll put that into the breakout room so you'll be able to see it as we go along. And then the question is, how do these factors relate to your life? How do these factors relate to your life? So Larry, if I can hit go.
Yeah,
Sounds
I just
like
wanted to show the factors again, just for people's viewing. So, okay.
Shannon, do you need a moment to set up the rooms, or are you ready to
No,
launch?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Shannon's always ready.
And I know when we come back, we want to definitely, hopefully everybody got our newsletter. We want you to hear from one of our special features from the newsletter. So we'll see you in a moment.
Thank you.
Thomas, I'm going to pause the record. God, thank
He's a genius.
you.
I mean, he really is too.
Think of
but
Sinise.
got some
Fate,
good
Harry
ideas.
Sinise, Miss Janice.
Well, welcome back, everybody. I would love to hear just a few, if anybody had any highlights of the share or any awarenesses that came up. You can either at the bottom hit the reaction and raise your hand, or physically raise your hand, and I'll do my best to see. Would love to hear a little bit about your share or any aha moments.
Yeah, I would like to know what type of private equity opportunities are being invested in, and obviously what type of relationships where a person like myself who's already in the investment business, how would I understand, where the value I can bring? I'm a little unclear still with, the approach of private equity and kind of how that was described, but I'd be happy to understand a little bit more.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, that sounds like a great question, Dale. I know we'll probably gear him towards the learning more. And I can tell you want to answer, go ahead. And then Mark, you wanted to share?
Yeah, short answer, because it does apply, Elliot. We were just talking, one of the things we've encountered in the last 20 years of doing what we do is some of the best ideas, we can't bring them to market in the way that traditional capitalism works, because equity wants to control it. It's typically restricted to the controlling class, as it is in accredited investor and regulation anyway. So after 2008, when we saw that whole thing blow up, we reinvented private equity as a function of cash flow. And what that means is, and now the accredited investor rule has changed to now include something other than wealth or finances as a means of accredited investor status. That includes now experience, that includes industry knowledge, that includes intellectual property, that includes, we've got a nice little video on that, 7 other areas of, I'll just say, intangible, equitable value that accountants and lawyers just can't figure out. They don't know how to put goodwill on a balance sheet, or what's an idea worth when it's just getting started. Suffice to say, what sets us apart more than any other family office opportunity in terms of the types of deals that we do is how we do them. We are not using securities to do it. And if that's intriguing at all, to invite more people to come be a part of, member, sponsor, and participate in or acquire the types of things that you're talking about doing, please use the contact us form. You know, Elliot, I already told you, but Christopher, I think it was, and anyone else. It's really, really important that if these good ideas, these God ideas are going to get out, we can't be selling ourselves to the Egyptian way of doing things. There is a better way, I assure you. A bank's not it. So I'll leave it with that. There's a whole lot more to that. Suffice it to say, here's the teaser. It's royalty-based financing. And you won't find it in the first 10 pages of the Google search because no one's talking about it. We've written white papers on the subject matter. We're experts, and we've got a lot of different creative ideas about how you can do that, and or some of the ones that you're looking at and putting deals together. We're not looking to supplant other professionals. Put us on the team, and let's get something done for the glory of God. So.
And I'm just going to
Next question.
interject. One of the things is to we have a great system so you can easily learn more and understand it. If you go to KCTFO.com, there's just real short videos that explains what is a royalty relationship or royalty sharing covenant. How are we different? How does this family office work? So if you go to that website, it'll give you a password, username, and you can go in and watch at your own speed and follow that journey. That'll lead you to the contact form and all of that.
And
Mark,
save a lot of time.
and save a lot of time. Yeah. I mean, the big thing with this, just for everybody, even if you've been with us for a while, we would love to have you go through this process, because one of the things that happens is I don't know about you, but for me, it took me a long time to understand what does all of this mean and how does it work. And so we created this system so that you can go and watch it. And if you're like me, you want to watch it 3 or 4 times, like, okay, I got to understand this and I want to go look up more information. We've created a system so that everybody can understand the language, understand how it works, and what those next steps are. So, all right, Mark, any share on this segment? And then I know, Dale, we had a couple more things. And actually, Mark, I'm sorry, while you're speaking. So if you didn't get our newsletter, Mark was our spotlighted power partner. And if you didn't get it, let me know. I'd love to give you a copy of it. And go ahead, Mark. We'd love to hear from you too.
Thank you. I'd love to get a copy of that. But it was very interesting when we were talking about the 9 things on here. I had mentioned that a lot of them are connected to each other, and everyone else kind of agreed with that as well. Mine was having strong reasons for living, but with that is you got to take control of your health. And with take control of your health, you have to radically change your diet. But then also the other ones in there about, social support. None of those 9 can be pulled apart in individual. They're all tied in together. And instead of waiting for one of those cataclysmic events like having cancer or something else, is why not change that ahead of time and try to avoid those types of things. It was kind of an interesting discussion we had about that. It was interesting. None of them can be tied individually apart. They're all tied in together. So that was our observation that we had.
That's beautiful. Okay, Larry, anything else to close this segment out?
Oh, that was, I think you hit it on the head there, Mark, of what Kelly Turner discovered. And it's a fascinating read there's 9 chapters, and each chapter covers one of the factors and has some really, really interesting stories. It's a very entertaining book about what some of these people did and went through. It's fascinating, but you're right, they are all holistic and connected. It's hard to do one without the other. So thank you for that, Mark. No, thank y'all for your participation, and to me, that was fun. So.
And Larry, was there anything else that we wanted Mark to highlight? Not Larry, Thomas. Sorry, Thomas. Was there anything else that we? Sorry.
No, I just thought it'd be good chance for Mark Janice to kind of again spotlight him as being the featured power partner in our last newsletter. Mark has been with KCT, been just about a year, or just under a year, just over a year, Mark, in our
Kind of like a
syndication.
Kind of like a centerfold, Thomas.
Yeah. Oh, all right. That's kind of creepy. But yeah, so Mark, do you want to give I think Christopher jumped off, but for those who stayed on who are new, do you want to give maybe a little bit of an overview on what that experience was like and what the approach is to capital attraction and challenges and the overcoming that, that comes in the journey?
Yeah,
Anything you
thanks,
wanna-
Thomas. Yeah, no, I'd be happy to. It's very interesting too, because traditionally when you think about businesses and how to actually do things, you're thinking about partners and borrowing money and then losing control of certain things versus the way that King's Counsel was doing things is just a little bit different, where they were partnering with you for your success. But that's one small piece of it at the tail end. It's before you get there. It's the making sure that you understand what you're doing. Do you have a good business plan? Do you have a solid group of people that give you the right advice? Are you looking at things correctly? Are you thinking about how you're giving back? Are you thinking about how to have long-term planning on there? And that's the thing that's been great for me is it's not just how do you get a business funded in a completely different way, by the way. But it's how to partner with the right people, how to make sure that you're thinking about things correctly, how you're making sure you're laying the groundwork for success, and making sure you're doing it for the right reasons. It's not just, hey, you need to find someone to help fund it, and here's some way to go ahead and do that. It's how do you actually get there? Are you prepared for that? And let's find some alternative ways of getting that done of people that want to partner with you. And that for me over the last year has been fantastic because it just gets you thinking differently of how you want to get things done and what you want to leave behind for the next generation and also for your kids and for your family. So for me, it's been fantastic. It's not you're alone figuring this out. You've got a whole group around you that can help out with that. Plus the people we met along the way are fantastic as well. Thomas, did that kind of answer your question?
I think, again, it's whatever it is that came to mind. Everyone's experience is unique and different, and it's not without its challenges. And I have to say, for to give Mark an extra hug and pat on the back, some of the folks that started our journey have not been able to overcome the difficulties, the obstacles. So again, it's this relationship that we're looking for. It's covenant relationship. We do it because we want to. We care for you. And when it gets hard, we don't want you to tuck tail and run away. We want to say, okay, how can we overcome this next obstacle? And Mark has been gracious and a great demonstration of what it means to be in an honor economy and push through to the goal. And it'll just make the goal and the success all the sweeter to have that extra ripening take place. Because when we're ready to receive, it'll come. And then we'll have the ability to take it and multiply it and show and essentially provoke others to jealousy and say, gee, I wish I would have stayed, or maybe I want to come back, or maybe I should get involved in the first place.
Or the more operative question is, are you ready to receive? Most people we talk to are not anywhere ready to receive more than, say, $250,000 worth of capital in today's current markets, mostly because they don't understand the very banks they so-called keep their money. It's not their money, are insolvent. We have a worldwide banking crisis on our hands. Most of us don't know about it. We're more interested in Elon Musk fighting Mark Zuckerberg, or what Kanye is saying, or some other crap on YouTube. And that's all part of the agenda. But I'm here to tell you that our entire system is so brittle right now. Are you ready to receive? Don't know. Well, we've got a few good checklists about that, but more on that another time. Should you decide to lay it in. This is about Mark. Thank you for sharing that. Mark, aside from what we've learned in the newsletter, is there anything while we've got you here in live and in person you can share about what's going on in Branson?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. We found out that it's the same thing. Places that are good and wholesome, where it's based on good Christian values. We have visitors come back year after year after year, and they come for the shows. They come for the good wholesomeness. They don't come for the party atmosphere that you get in a lot of other vacation spots. We've seen that, and every single year we're getting more and more people coming. Now, people that are coming, even in the economy that's having a little tougher time, they might not be spending as much money on shows and everything else, but they're still spending time as a family unit to get into a condo where they've got 2 or 3 families sharing together and having a meal together and breaking bread together and going out on the lake and doing things together. We still see that. It's really strong. And it's just a wonderful when you read all the local newspapers and people are complaining about the traffic and how it's hard to get to certain places. And you have to think, okay, we live in a tourist spot. People are coming to visit here because of our values that we have. They're the ones that are driving the tax base and they're the ones that are driving businesses. Let's be a little bit more patient with them, let people into traffic, and realize that the people that might come in and be a little short with you and a little bit upset, they're there spending their hard-earned dollars in a good environment instead of going to Las Vegas, instead of going to other places. And it's just nice to remember those kind of things. A little bit of humility goes a long way. And because of that, we know that we'll be successful in the long term, and we just can't wait to break over a few barriers. Every single time something else new's come up, roll with it, work with the group. They come up with other ideas for you, and it's been fantastic.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you so much. So I know Dale wanted to share a special video that tied into the theme of today's talk, and we're at the top of the hour. So Dale, anything you want to add about this, or do you want me to just show it and talk about it for a minute, or any closing remarks?
This is just another example of alternative things that we support, and it is so very appropriate. It's meant to be shared. So hopefully it'll be explanatory, and you might find some humor in there from some of the participants. I'll let you see it. And please, if anyone is at all interested in conceptually about some of what we talked about here today and the alternatives with which to get things to market and safer and more effective, please, plug whom you invited into our video series so they can get the basics under the belt and contact us. So with that, Chen, thanks.
Beautiful. And you can access the movie for free at theinsideeffects.com. And here's the trailer.
In a world filled with fear and confusion about diagnosis and medications,
if you're going to get a diagnosis, if you actually went and got the diagnosis from somebody and then took that diagnosis and went to another professional, you might get multiple diagnoses. You might not get the same diagnosis multiple times.
Once we have a diagnosis, sometimes we end up with what I call a label. Once we have a label, then our thought process goes, oh, I have this thing. We literally attach ourselves and our consciousness to this label.
When you give someone a diagnosis of something, a set of belief systems are installed in that particular moment, or a set of belief systems are triggered. And so for many people, that trigger is, it's over, I'm dying.
Conventional medicine doesn't cure, it just maintains, stabilizes, or minimizes pain, often with terrible side effects.
There is an incredible connection between the pharmaceuticals, the chemical industry, the food industry, and it seems, at least on the surface, that it's not for our health.
a different conversation is emerging. The idea that the body has the innate ability to heal itself. Why are we not taught this? Why are nature's remedies routinely ignored or ridiculed by the medical establishment? Could there be a motive to keep us sick? The Inside Effects, How the Body Heals Itself, brings together a dynamic group of leading-edge doctors, scientists, researchers, and health advocates offering practical and powerful tools for tapping into your body's ability to heal.
What we think and what we believe directly generates our experience.
The Inside Effects, How the Body Heals Itself.
We believe in circles, 'cause circles take no sides. Together we rise, together we
thrive. Thank you so much.
That's pretty cool. We didn't have that last time. So, just saying. little by little, getting things done. And hopefully look forward to meeting you all and discussing more of what's going on in your life and who you're working with, and see how we may be of assistance between now and next. Well, I should say, what is it, second Tuesday of next month? Every month. So. Thank you all. Want to know? Ms. Shannon, anything else we need to know?
Nope, I think that's
What's
it.
the website? So we have a number of guests here. Where
Okay.
did they do and where did they go?
So
Great.
to get started with KCT, you go to kctfo.com. And there's a video series, and at the end of the video series, it'll say, do this next to get started. If you're interested here, go here or there. You've already been to the town hall, so it'll guide you on the next steps.
Thank you.
Thank you.